This Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. This Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. Wilfred owned a moose. He hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago, and he just knew that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Moose as a pet. Interesting idea. This page right here, the little boy has what's called a record on a record player. This is how we listened to music long ago. And when you had a lot of records, it was called a record collection. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed Rule 4 very well. Not making too much noise while Wilfred plays his record collection. Sometimes the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored Rule 7, going whichever way Wilfred wants to go. The moose had a very good sense of direction, and Wilfred did not. And because the moose was particularly poor on Rule 7, subsection B, maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned to bring some string along on their outings so he could find his way back again. Staying a proximity close to home means, or a proximity to home, close proximity to home means close to home, not leaving the area. But he's a moose. He lives in the mountains. Sometimes the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with Rule 11, providing shelter from the rain. Or Rule 16, knocking down things that are out of Wilfred's reach. Here's Wilfred thinking about their next trip. You can see that. They're in a barrel in an ocean. Oh, it looks like they're about to go over a waterfall. Wonder if that's Niagara Falls. One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible discovery. ... Daddy Lips telling us to wait. I wonder what's so terrible. Look at these big words. That tells us this needs to be read with some emotion, some excitement, some Someone else thought she owned the moose. And here's this lady, and in her speech bubble she says, Rodrigo, you're back. So she has named Marcel Rodrigo. Does she think that this moose is her pet also? And over here, Wilfred looks really shocked. And he says, the moose belongs to me. Let's read what happens. Wilfred was dumbstruck. This moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred thought it only proper that he correct her. This moose belongs to me, he exclaimed. And to prove it, he called Marcel, heel. Do you really think Marcel's gonna listen? Something you would say to a dog. But the moose did not respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. Good, Rodrigo. Wouldn't you be more interested in the lady right now? She's feeding him a delicious apple. Here's Wilfred. He looks a little upset. Look at that scribble that Oliver Jeffers is really famous for making in his writing to show that author is maybe frustrated or upset. And he says, fine. Remember that string he has taken from his house to the woods so he can find his way back? Very clever. But look what happens. Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. But in his haste and miles from anywhere, he tripped over his string and got tangled up. Uh-oh. I love this. Beautiful blue sky. Night is coming. He is tangled in that blue string. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was getting late, and the monsters would be out soon. Here he is, still tangled. Looks like day's coming. Looks like he's been there all night, and look who's coming. And here he's thinking about all the worst things that could be happening right now. He had just ruled out the last of his options when along came the moose. And performed Rule 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from perilous situations. Like being stranded in the woods, tangled in thread. Look at that. Again, I love this picture. Makes me really want to be in the mountains. Beautiful picture with the characters there. And Marcel's name tag is falling off. All was forgiven, and perhaps Wilfred admitted he'd never really owned the moose anyway. And here he's talking to him. Look at, he's talking to him about being a waiter. Do you think a moose would do that? With that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules. There's that ellipse again. Let's see what happens. Whenever it suited him. That means whenever he wanted to do whatever the rule is that Wilfred was setting. Another beautiful picture. Look at that. Makes me want to be up in the mountains right now. I love this page. You think the story's over. And here's the moose, and here's a new character that says, Dominic, you're back, and you brought me an apple. Thanks again for joining me again today, kiddos. The Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. Have a good day.